Good afternoon. Welcome to today's CI Tools webinar. My name is Josh Osborne and I'm the product manager for the CI Tools here at Central Innovation. And this is a weekly webinar that we run to talk about the CI Tools. You probably know that if you're here. Over the last couple of weeks, we have been looking at a bunch of new stuff to do with ArchiCAD 29, which has been out for, I think, over a month now, just over a month maybe. What we're going to do today is we will be looking again at ArchiCAD 29. And this time what I want to do is go over some of the things that you need to know if you are new to uh, the CI tools, or if you're new to using the CI tools in ArchiCAD 29. So we'll look at how to get the CI tools up and running inside ArchiCAD. We will look at how to access the tools once you're in ArchiCAD, and then we will also go over some of the new functionality that we released in ArchiCAD 29. So if you've been attending these webinars for the last couple of weeks, you might have seen quite a lot of these bits already. I just wanted to cover off something for sort of new CI tools customers or trial customers, or people who have been maybe using the tools for a little while and are just migrating to ArchiCAD 29. There's a couple of things to know about how to work things. And then we'll talk about the new functions in ArchiCAD 29 so that you can get started trying those out right away. If you have any questions as we go through the webinar today, please enter those in the chat panel wherever you're watching this, either on Vimeo or on YouTube. I will check on those questions about midway through the webinar and then again at the end, so that I can answer anything that comes up there that I can answer over this session. Otherwise, I will log a support ticket with you and follow up later on. So send anything through in the chat panel there, and I'll see what we can do to sort you out. And obviously, before we get started, also, everything that I'm going to be doing today is in ArchiCAD 29. A lot of the same concepts that we're going to be talking about with the upgrade will also apply to 28. And possibly some older versions as well. But this is primarily going to be focused on things to do and ways to do things in ArchiCAD 29. With that all out of the way, let's jump into things that you may want to know how to do and how to do them in the CI tools, in ArchiCAD with the CI tools. So the first thing that you'll want to do when you get started using the CI tools is you'll want to know where to find them, I would imagine. So after you install the CI tools for the first time, you can start up ArchiCAD and the tools will be ready. The easiest way to tell if everything has installed okay is to look for the CI tools menu that you'll see here. It'll be in between your window menu and your help menu, CI tools, and it will have a list of all of the tools that you have installed in here. Now, these are not in any particular order. ArchiCAD loads add-ons in the order that it gets to them, not in any particular order like alphabetical or anything like that. So your list will look different to mine, depending on what tools you have available and that sort of thing, but they will all be in there somewhere. So we can see I've got mine starting with fit out and going down to stairs here. And a lot of the tool functionality comes from items in these menu items. If you are just trying out the CI tools and you want to sort of poke around and see what things are available to do, having a look through what's available in the menu items here is a good way to do that as well. So maybe you've started working with the doors and windows tool, drawing up some doors and windows, and you want to look around a little bit more and see what else is going on. If you look in the CI tools menu for doors and windows here, you can see we've got functions for using the schedule manager. So if you want to create door and window schedules, those are available there. We've also got some functionality to do with the schedule notes. And then a couple of sort of troubleshooting items. Generally, you won't need to do these unless someone in the support team tells you that you should run them. And these are available at the bottom here. So most of the time you won't need those. But when we're doing anything to do with schedules with doors and windows, this is where we will access those. And the same applies for a lot of the other tools as well. There are several tools that don't have any functions in the menu. So for instance, the cabinet tool and the detail elements tool. The reason for that is because the primary interaction for those tools is via the actual element that you place, and there's nothing in the menu that needs to be run separately. So you'll see a couple that just link to their help documentation but don't actually do anything else. So that is the CI Tools menu up here. And then the other thing that we'll want to do is make sure that all of the tools are actually available in your toolbox in ArchiCAD. So as you, I'm sure, know, because you already use ArchiCAD, the way that we do things in ArchiCAD is we grab the tool that we want to use and then we draw with it in here. And that applies to several of the CI tools as well. So we add some specific additional tools to this toolbox so that you can use them. And you can see in my toolbox, I have these loaded at the moment. So the slab edge tool, which is part of our structural tool, is available here. It will be just after your slabs. The electrical tool, which is from the electrical tool, obviously, is just after the lamp in the design toolbox. Directly after the electrical tool is the cabinet tool from the cabinet tool. And then going further down, just after the zone tool, you will have the fit out tool. There's two tools available in the fit out tool. One is for doing individual sets, so that is sort of parts of fit outs, and then for doing entire room fit outs here. So you can access those two there. And then directly after the two fit outs are the CI tools, stair tools as well. So there's the poly stair and the railing to go with them as well. So those will be there. And then if we go down a little bit further under the document menu, we also have the detail element tool available here. That will be at the top of your document menu here. Now, if you're looking at ArchiCAD, trying to find these things and you don't see them, it's because they don't get added automatically. There are two ways that we can add them though. The first and the easiest way is that when you installed the CI tools, one of the sort of default selections of tools to install is the CI tools work environment. If you chose to do that, just go to your options menu, work environment, apply profile, and choose CI tools profile 29. If you're using an older version, obviously the version number here will change, but otherwise it will be called something roughly the same. And if we apply that profile, it will make the change by adding those items to the toolbox. So if I change back to the standard architectural profile, you'll see that I don't have any CI tools there, and then I just apply the CI tools work environment on top, and it will add those in. Now, I should note before uh, anybody gets worried about this, all that work environment does is put the additional CI tools into the toolbox. It won't touch your menus, it won't touch where your palettes are floating, it won't touch how often your autosaves save or anything like that. All it does is put tools in the toolbox. So if you have a custom modified work environment already, that you have modified other things but not the toolbox, then all loading the CI tools profile will do is update your toolbox to have the CI tools in it. So it should be relatively safe for most of you. If you do have a toolbox that customized, or you just want to do things yourself manually, you can also do that as well. So just go to the options menu, work environment, and then scroll down until you see toolbox here, and you can add them in manually this way. If you've modified your toolbox, you probably are familiar with this already, but we go into the group that we want. So we'll start with design, and then the CI tools, because they're add-ons, will be down near the bottom of the list. So we can go in, and once you get past all of the MEP items, you will see a sort of a clump of the CI tools available here. So you can see the fit out and the fit out set, the slab edge, a couple of different coverings, the detail element, polyster and railing, electrical and cabinet are all available here. So you can just select these and add them to your toolbox wherever you want them to be, and then reorder them and that sort of thing. I will also note here as well that you'll see that there are 4 covering items here as well. If you have the coverings tool installed, you have wall, slab, roof, and column coverings. This is not the method that we use to actually place coverings though, so I don't recommend adding these to your toolbox. So leave the coverings out, but add in all of the other CI tools that you want to use. So once you've done that either way, you will get access to the tools via your toolbox here. The next thing that we need to do before we can get started with the tools is that we need to load the library. So as you may know, if you're working with external libraries or plugins or anything like that. To get access to the objects that are part of them, you need to load the libraries in your library manager. Now, up until ArchiCAD 27, these will have been loaded automatically, but with the change to the new library pack system that ArchiCAD uses, you do need to add these in manually now. So this is the last step in getting your project ready to start using the CI tools with. And that is that I'm just going to switch over to a blank project here. I'll go to my File menu. So this is a brand new blank project that I've just opened. You can see I have my toolbox items there, but if I go into any of these, you won't see anything there. So there's nothing available to use. And the reason for that is because there are no libraries loaded. So that's the last step. So we go File, Library Manager. You'll see we have our ArchiCAD library loaded here, but we don't have any CI tools showing. So what we do is we hit the Add button down at the bottom. We browse to our ArchiCAD 29 folder, which you can see here. So it's in our Applications Graphisoft folder. If you're on Windows, it's in C, Program Files, Graphisoft. Go to ArchiCAD 29 and you'll see that there is a folder called CI Tools Library Packages. We select that folder and we can't add the folder as it is, so don't just select the folder and press open. We need to select all of the files here. So you can either hit Command A or Control A to select all of these, or just drag a selection box around them to select them all and hit open, and that will add them into your list as well. And now we can hit OK, and that will give us all of the CI tools libraries ready to go. So once that finishes loading, if I open up the cabinet tool again, you'll see that we have some elements available to actually place. It will probably just take a couple of seconds to load up that library. You will need to do this in each project that you want to use the CI tools in, but you only need to do it one time in each project. So once you've done it once, as soon as you save this project, it will remember that you want to have the libraries loaded each time. So you don't need to do it every time, but you do need to do it at every project. So a good way to get around having to do that process every time would be to add them to your ArchiCAD template so that they're just always there and ready for you whenever you start up a new project or anything like that. So now if I open my cabinets tool, you'll see that we have a bunch of cabinet items available here for us to use, and then you can start using the CI tools. So that is getting everything sorted out in ArchiCAD so that we can use our CI tools. So making sure that our work environment is loaded from Options, Work Environment, Apply Profile, CI Tools Profile 29, and then making sure our library is loaded by going to File, Library Manager, and then adding in the CI Tools library packages. That gets us all ready to go. I'm just going to briefly pause the screen share so I can check and see if there's any questions. If you did have anything that you wanted to ask during that first part, please enter those in the chat panel now and I will see what I can do to help. Okay, looks like we don't have any questions yet, but if you do think of anything, enter that in the chat panel as we finish up the rest of the stream here. And if you think of something after the stream finishes that you wanted to ask about, you can email that through to us on nz.support. So that's NZ being short for New Zealand, nz.support@centralinnovation.com. That will automatically create a support ticket at our end, and someone in our support team can help you out with that, or they'll forward you on to me and I can help you out with that. So just send any emails like that through if you think of them after the fact, or you think of anything that you would like to see in a future version of this webinar, send those through to there as well. All right, so the next thing that I wanted to talk about is just how to quickly get started with a couple of the different tools, how to access them and how to use them. Now that we've got our toolbox ready to go and we've got our libraries loaded. So I'm just going to go through a couple of these tools so that you can see how to get started using them. We'll start with the cabinets tool because we were looking at that just before. And that one's nice and simple. We simply double click on the cabinets tool in our toolbox to select the tool and then start working. There's a couple of different options available in the cabinets tool. We've got the benchtop, the cabinet, the corner cabinet, the angled corner cabinet, and the polygon cabinet. These are all for slightly different uses, as you can probably see in the preview, but in 95% of cases, CI cabinet is what you'll want to use. And you can go from there and do whatever you want to do with that to make up the cabinet that you need. If you open the cabinet tool and you see these kind of greenish icons here that all say that they are deprecated, it just means that you're looking in the migration folder. So these are the old cabinet tool from about in the region of 6 years ago. It's not actively developed anymore. It does still work, but the reason that it's still there is just for people who are opening old ArchiCAD projects so that you can still see the cabinets that you place there. But I don't really want anyone to be using these in new projects. These are all, they work very differently than the new cabinet does. They have less functionality and all of that sort of business. So if you do see these ones, just look up in the top part here and click on the cabinets folder instead of the migration legacy folder, and you'll see the cabinet object here. That's the one that you want to use. So that's how to get started in cabinets. I'm not going to go through how the tools actually work in this session because it would take far too long, and we do have individual sessions. There are recordings available that have been made previously for all of the CI tools, and also going forward in the next few weeks, I will go through each of the tools to show you how each of them work as well. So that is the cabinets tool. One of our other very popular tools is the doors and windows tool, and you access this via the door tool and the window tool as exactly as you might expect. So going into the door tool here, you will see under the CI tools library, we have the door exterior, and the garage door available. These are all for slightly different things. The door tool is for doing interior doors or basic doors. The door exterior tools is for doing doors with large amounts of glazing on them. It's actually a modified version of our window tool. And so this is useful for when you have quite complicated glazing setups, especially to do with multi-panel doors or complicated setups in the side lights and overlights and that sort of thing. And then the garage door is for doing garage doors. And we work with these and place them exactly the same way as you do with any other door tool once you've made the changes that you want. The window tool works the same way. It's from the window tool. So we just go into our doors and windows folder, and there it is. There's only one type of window available, and this window will adapt to any type of window that you want. So you can go in here and choose a preset, and that will get you started. And then we can go through and further customize that window to do what we want it to do, and then place it like you would any normal window. With windows and doors, we also have a schedule available, and that is from the CI Tools menu, doors and windows, and go to the schedule manager. And that's how you create new schedules and modify existing schedules. So we just click the new button here to get started with that, and we can set up how we want to with that. Moving on from the window and door tool, the next tool is the coverings tool. As I mentioned before, we don't want to add that as a toolbox item. What we do with coverings is that we select the item that we want to apply a covering to, and then run the command from the coverings menu to attach that. So in the case of using a wall covering, we just select the wall, go to the CI Tools menu, Coverings, and press the Wall Coverings button here, and that will let us apply a wall covering. So it will open the settings for the wall covering tool. You'll see that there are two covering objects available. Again, similarly to the cabinets tool, we have a deprecated wall covering item here. This is how the object worked up until about a year and a half ago. So this is still there for the purposes of migrating older projects. But aside from that, you should always use the normal CI Tools wall covering item here. And we can go through and define how we want this to work. So in particular with wall coverings, you probably want to go to the cladding type and choose what kind of cladding you want to use. And then hit OK. It will let us choose what side of the wall we want to place the covering on. So you get this sort of eyeball cursor and we can click on the side that we want, and then it places the covering on our wall. And the same will apply for roofs, slabs, and columns. You just select a roof in your project and then go to CI Tools, coverings, roof coverings, and so on for columns and for slabs as well. Moving on from there, the next tool after those ones to look at is the electrical tool. So we access that via the electrical tool in our toolbox. And the main way that we'll interact with this is by placing these plates here. So you can see there's a selection of folders. We've got EU, RSA, NZ, AUS, UK, and USA. These are the different regional types of plates. So you go into the folder that matches your region and then choose the type of thing that you want to place. So we can say a mixed power outlet, for instance, and then we can go through and modify it the way that we want to. Once we're happy with how this looks, so we've got our plate looking like this and our symbol looking like this, we hit OK, and then to place, we hold down the spacebar and click on a wall, and it will automatically rotate and snap the element to that wall that we clicked on. So it makes it nice and easy to work with. So you can place all of your symbols that way. And then once you want to create a wiring diagram, you select the items that you want to be part of the circuit, and then go to CI Tools, Electrical, and press Add Wiring. There's a couple of settings about how the wiring will work, but once you hit OK, it will draw the wiring on. Obviously, it won't do it because I only have one element at the moment, but if we had multiples, then that's when it would draw the wiring up for us. After the electrical tool are the fit out tools. As I mentioned, there are two different tools available for them in ArchiCAD 29. This is one of the main new features of ArchiCAD 29 for the tools. It was the ability to create your own rooms using the fit out tool. And so you use the set tool to do that. So if you open the set tool, you'll see that there are a couple of them available. There are clearance items. And then if we go to example sets, there are a number of example setups, and when we select those, you can see what the set contains. And obviously the main appeal of the new functionality with ArchiCAD 29 is that you can create your own sets here. So you can build up a selection of objects and save them as a set and use those for your room fit outs. So that's how you access the sets, and then we just click to place those. Placing them just like this won't do very much, but once you place them inside a zone, that's when they will do all of the things that they need to, like snapping to walls, rotating, moving so that they have clearance for other sets and that sort of thing. Once you have made a room fit out, those are available in the room fit out tool. And again, there's a couple of examples available here of complete rooms that you can use. And again, you select the fit out that you will like and then click to place it inside a zone, and that will draw the room for you. So that is the fit out tool. Looking down our toolbox here, we also have the detail elements tool. And this one, similar to some of the other ones, we select by simply double clicking on the tool, and it will show us our library of detail elements. So there are a series of folders here, 10 folders, and each one contains roughly what you might think would live under those under that description. So the wall has things that you might want to use while you're doing detailing on walls. You then select the item that you want to use, make the changes that you want to use in the settings, and click to place in your project. And then with all of the detail elements, we can then select them and manipulate them how we need to. So we can stretch this one out and it will draw as many blocks as we need it to. And most of the other fit outs work in the same way. So they you set the settings for what you want, and then once you've placed them, you can stretch them to be the size that you want as well. Next is the annotate tool. The annotate tool is accessed entirely via the menu. So we go down to annotate, convert here, and this palette will pop up, showing us all of the options of things that we can do with the annotate tool. As of ArchiCAD 29, the functions available are to replace fills, pens, or line types. So you can turn on any of those that you want to do, to replace the fonts in the project, or to convert the case in the project. So turn on the replacement options that you want to use, and then press the buttons to the right to modify the way that works. So for instance, if we choose to replace fonts, we can press the edit button and then set up the table for what fonts should map to what other fonts. Hit OK when we're done, and then click OK here, and that will apply those changes through your project. And the same works with everything else here. So to replace fills, we go in here, and then we can tell the system what rules to use. So swap common brick for roof tile, or whatever you want to use. Down at the bottom of the palette are the settings for how they should be applied. So we can choose to apply them just to our current drawing, to all of the plan views, or to the entire project. And additionally, if you have an item selected when you go to this menu item, you can also choose the selected items option. And it will go through there, and we can tell it to ignore certain criteria as well if you want to. After the fit out tool, we also have the metadata tool. This one is a floating palette. So the only command under the menu is to turn that palette on. So we press show metadata palette, and that will start floating over here. And now we can select any elements in our project, and we will see all of the property data associated with that element, and we can do live changes in the interface here. We also have functionality down at the bottom here to do filtering and selection and deselection based on criteria as well. And the same applies with classifications. They work in the same way as properties do. So that is the metadata tool. Keynotes works in a similar way. The main thing that we want to do in most cases is to open the palette so that we can work with it. So we go to Keynotes, Keynotes palette, and that will open the Keynotes palette, and then we can start using that. So we can create some new notes here. We can import a note database by opening the Keynote Manager, and we can refresh our note database if we're using a linked database using this button here. And most of the other functionality is via the menu as well. So this is where we create our schedules. So we go to a layout sheet, we can create schedules here, we can update schedules, we can import and export keynotes and that sort of thing. So that is the keynotes tool. The structural tool, the commands to do the structural item cuts are available here from the structural tool. Place wall framing and place floor framing. You'll need to have either walls or slabs selected before you run these commands. And then the other part of the structural tool is the slab edge. So to use that one, we double click on it. We choose the type of slab edge that we want to use, whether it's a footing, a rebate, or a step. And then we click OK, and then simply click on the edge of any slab, and that will apply the slab edge. There's a function, there's a menu in here called My CI Tools, which you may have noticed. This will let you manage the preferences for how the CI tools do things to do with the tools as a whole. So we have the option to run an update check, to choose how usage data reporting is collected, and to open the tip of the day. And if I press the preference button, we also get some options about whether we always want to see the tip of the day when we start ArchiCAD, and if we also want to automatically do an update check. So you can modify the way that those work as well. Transformer tool is available here from the menu. This one, all it does is mirror projects, and so that is what the function is. Click the mirror project button, click once to choose the axis of the mirror, and then a second time to choose whether it's a horizontal or vertical mirror. And then after the second click is done, I can't, there we go, it will do the mirror for you. There's no other functions that you need to worry about for that one. Then the stairs tool has an option to place railings in the menu, but the main interaction with the stair tool is via the stairs toolbox item. So we go in here, we choose what type of stair we want to use, and then we just click to start drawing our stair. Once we start drawing, you'll see a little palette will pop up here. We've got options to choose if it's a straight line or the various different types of constructing a curved line. And then we also have the options to toggle between flights and landings. So we can do two straight flights here. We can change to a landing and go to here, and then we can change back to a flight. And when we have gotten to the end of the path that we want to draw, we just double click on that point instead of single, and that will draw the stair for us. We can then draw railings on manually, or you can just select the stair and go to CI Tools Stairs, place railings, choose the type of railing that you want, and that will place the railings for us. So we can apply it on the inside, the outside, or both sides, and that will do that for us as well. The last tool in our list, I think it's the last one, is the quantities tool, and that is entirely accessed via the menu as well. So we go to the quantities tool. We can open either the bill of quantities palette or the takeoff palette, and that will allow us to do the interactions with that. The takeoff palette is the one that you will generally use to do things like checking that your recipes are running the way that you expect them to, and that sort of thing. So you'll see any recipes that are attached to elements in your menu here. And then you can also press this button here to open the Quantity Takeoff Manager. So that's where we set up bill items and create recipes for them. And this button here to open up our actual bill of quantities. So the essentially the quantity schedule you can get from here, and you can also export that using this dialog as well. So that is how to get into all of the tools once you get them installed and set up in ArchiCAD. And obviously where you go from there depends entirely on what you want to do. And as I say, there are videos available on how to use all of the tools available on our YouTube channel. And also over the next couple of weeks, I will be going through how to use all of the tools as well. So if you come back next week, we will be looking at how to get started using one of the tools. I'm not sure which one at this stage. And so we'll go through a series of those. But if you do have any tools in particular that you would like to see before others, or if you wanted to go over any of this stuff, just email us at nz.support@centralinnovation.com, and that will get through to me and let me know that you want to see that in a future webinar. That's all I have time for today, though. I'm just going to quickly check and see if we have any questions that have come up before I finish up. Okay, so we've got a question that the tools are in the library, but when you try to use one, it says no library parts found. I can't really answer that without knowing some more specifics, because it depends what tool it is and also what library you have loaded. So I will create a support ticket for you after this webinar has finished, and just follow up with you about specifically what it is that is not working. But generally, for these, the only thing you need to do is load the libraries like I did earlier. So that was that we go to the File menu, Library Manager, Add, and then add in all of the library packages for the libraries, the CI tools that we're using. Generally, you'll just add everything in here, but if there is, for some reason, some tools you have installed but you don't want to load, you can selectively choose just the ones that you want, for instance, and load those. If you are looking through this list of tools, you may also notice there's one called CI Tools Macros that is used by multiple CI tools. And if you try to load one of the ones that needs it without loading that tool itself, it will complain and load it automatically for you anyway. So that one you will always see there. It doesn't do anything by itself, but it is required. But yes, I will follow up with you about that after the session, because I'm not quite sure exactly which thing it is that's not working. But apart from that, it looks like we don't have any other questions. So as I said, if you do think of anything else, please let me know via nz.support@centralinnovation.com if you have any other questions or suggestions for things that you would like to see covered in this webinar. But I hope that was helpful. And I'll be running this session again next week. As I said, we'll be talking about getting started with some of the specific tools. So come along for that one if you're interested. Otherwise, thanks for your time, and I'll catch you later.